Hello, my name is Jen Beckett, and I will be taking you through a documentary titled Women Through the Ages. Although the hope is that women and minority groups are given more opportunity and exposure in an otherwise white male-dominated world, some aspects of femininity are still struggling to come to an equal balance with those of men. As more and more women demand equal rights both in the workplace and in the home, a time of change may be upon us. Generationally speaking, women have made much headway in the way of income, household roles, and even politically. However, there still remains much catching up to do. While change is occurring, it is occurring at a leisurely pace. While women of the 1990s have much more say-so in their experiences than, say, women of the 1920s, the gap between man and woman is still too wide. Additionally, the exposure of women and minorities in media is dismal at best and deplorable at worst. With the onslaught of media and films available to the masses, many of which portray women in a weak or tasteless manner, it is hard to determine if these changes are happening fast enough. And so, this documentary, spanning 4 generations, will attempt to answer the question, are we truly seeing change? And if so, is that change happening quickly enough? Okay, hi there, and thank you for joining us. Please state your name and age.
Harriet Rienga, and I'm 70, the new 50.
That's right. Thank you for being here, Harriet. The author of Night to His Day, The Social Construction of Gender, Judith Lorber, points out that gender as we know it is actually a social construct that we have developed and implemented. It is not enough to say an individual is female or male. With these labels comes an expectation of what that individual should do and how she should act. In accordance, these labels and the expectations that go along with them create boundaries between people, and as such, people are treated differently based upon those labels. As a child, which media were you exposed to?
Well, radio mostly. We finally got a TV, but it was black and white, and nobody really moved. Everybody's face was just in the middle.
And were any of those radio hosts women?
Not that I recall.
Interesting.
No, and the only shows, the sitcoms, were, Leave It to Beaver, Ozzie and Harriet, always the woman at home, cooking, cleaning, never worked. Didn't count taking care of the children, I guess, as work.
Right.
But yeah.
Right.
And always in a dress.
Yeah, no doubt. So when you were growing up, what was your expected role? Were you expected to do more girly jobs such as cleaning and cooking, or were you given more traditionally male jobs?
As a child, I wasn't allowed to work. So I was a little princess. I couldn't wear anything but a dress to school.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There was no birth control, so you were different.
You were meant to bear children?
Yes, and stay at home and be a housewife.
So that was...
I had no training otherwise.
Okay, so that was the message that you received from your mother and father, is how you should behave.
Mm-hmm. And be seen and not heard, for sure.
That was my next question. Were there expectations of being seen and not heard?
You betcha.
Wow, that is too funny. That was the next line. Okay, were you expected to grow up and marry or pursue a career, college?
Maybe junior college, but actual college was never offered. You know, it was maybe a stepping stone to something else.
Right, right. Did your own mother work?
No.
No, she was stay at home?
Yeah.
Did your father work, and what was his occupation?
Yeah, he was a salesman and he traveled. And so sometimes he was gone for a week or 2 at a time and always brought gifts back.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, he
nice.
was always fun to come home to. Yeah, he was a good dad.
Well, did you ever feel less than your male counterparts then?
When I got my first job, I worked in an insurance company transcribing the documents, and I just sat there and typed mostly with a dictaphone. And then I moved up into the claims department, and I was really busy. And they then hired a male to help me with my overload, and he was paid more than I was.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah,
exactly what I'm
and
talking
so
about.
I quit that job and went somewhere else, but that's,
Good for you.
yeah.
Good for you. And can you tell everybody what you do now and how long you've been doing it?
I sell real estate now, so I'm very independent, and I've been doing it starting on 28 years.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Harriet.
You're welcome.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us. Will you please tell me your name and age?
Rhonda Boblets, and I think I'm 57 years old.
Thank you for being here, Rhonda Boblets. Laura Sell's Where Do the Mermaids Stand? A piece on women and femininity, point out that often conflicting roles are assigned to women. A woman must be a mother first and foremost. A woman's role is that of homemaker. A woman must choose between her voice and her family. And women that are put into powerful positions are often portrayed as evil or crude. As a child, was your mother expected to attend to the house and children, or was she in a career?
My mom was, she was in the workforce, but she was mainly a mom and a housewife.
Was this a conflict for her, trying to juggle the two?
You know, it was kind of not primary roles out in the workplace, so she juggled them pretty well. They were pretty part-time jobs.
Was she expected to put the role of children above the role of working outside of the home?
Yes.
Yes. What was your expected role as a child? Did you undertake cleaning and dishes or more outside work like yard work and firewood?
I had to do, actually, we traded off with dishwashing every single night. And I remember commenting sinks out. It was the must of the job. And I took care of my horse, and that included checking the fence lines and feeding him and doing whatever I needed to do to take care of him. And as far as other outside chores went, I probably threw hay out to the cows once in a while. But not a whole bunch of chores. It was a pretty easy childhood.
You have a brother as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And was he expected to do the same chores as you and your sister?
I don't remember. He was 5 years younger, so I don't really remember him doing any chores at all.
But there was no clear delineation between man and woman chores in your household?
Well, probably not. I mean, he wasn't doing any chores. So I guess there was. The girls did the chores and the little brother didn't.
Uh-huh.
And I guess, you know, my dad did teach us to change our oil and to check our oil, and I did sometimes wash his logging truck. So
that leads in well to the next question. Then did you grow up with the belief that women were just as capable of men?
probably really not. I mean, there were things he wanted us to know how to do. But I think that's really changed more in my older life than my younger life. We still depended on Dad and asked him questions about whatever arose, and the dad and the male was the breadwinner really primarily, and kind of was the main protector in the household, boss, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm. And what movies do you remember as a child? Were women portrayed in a demure manner, or were they left to their own devices?
I guess I would remember most I Love Lucy, which would be primarily women. Mary Tyler Moore, same thing, with Mary and Rhoda. Gilligan's Island, and that was kind of a mix.
How did the women act in those?
The women acted in Mary Tyler Moore. Well, I Love Lucy was crazy and goofy and reminded me of my own mother.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Tyler Moore was a little more sophisticated, and Gilligan's Island was just kind of fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
where there was Miss Barbie doll and then the little Tom girl.
Do you
So-
see a difference now between media in your day growing up and media today with women and their roles?
Extremely.
Extremely.
Extreme difference.
Women aren't expected to wear dresses anymore.
No, there's just, it's not prim and proper, and the gender role is mixed up where women are as strong as men in a lot of action movies.
Mm-hmm.
Too much sex on the screen. I mean, when I was a kid, there was 4 channels, and we didn't watch a lot of TV at all. So now it's like the media is just crazy with stuff that shouldn't be out there.
So what is your job now? What is your career? And is it much different from your own mother's, who was not a breadwinner? What do you do?
I sell real estate, which my mom did go into in her later years. And I guess it's not a whole bunch different as far as that goes, except for I'm a separated person or a divorced person. So I'm kind of handling more roles maybe than she did.
And you're independent. You're an independent woman that doesn't need to rely on a man.
That's right.
That's right. All right, Rhonda Boblets, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hi there, please state your name and age.
Hi, I am Jen Beckett, and I am 36 years old.
Rebecca Robinson argues that men are often portrayed as heroes in Disney films while their female counterpart are the maidens in distress. Even the bad males in Disney films have much in the way of likable traits. Additionally, the bad males oftentimes find the straight and narrow and are redeemed in their bad ways. Females, controversially, are seen as either helpless and needy or evil and bad. As a child, who was your hero? Did your father take on the role of primary breadwinner? Did your mother work?
As a child, I would say that my heroes were probably both my mom and dad. And while my dad was the primary breadwinner in terms of making the most money, my mom always worked also. So it was split 50-50 in terms of responsibility.
Did you see your own mother as helpless or needy?
Absolutely not. My mom was a go-getter, and even though she didn't bring in the same kind of income as my father, she absolutely worked her butt off.
What media did you consume as a child?
I didn't consume a ton of media as a child because we only had one TV, and that was dominated by my dad. So we primarily watched whatever he was watching, which was a lot of hunting and fishing, documentaries and shows. The little TV that I did watch was probably Scooby-Doo, and Scooby-Doo had, of course, both male and females in it, and Shaggy and Scooby were looked at as kind of doofuses. Fred was looked at as kind of a doofus, and interestingly enough, the smart girl in it, Velma, was also the nerdy one, while Daphne, the pretty one, was dumb.
What chores/roles were you given as a child? Were they mostly traditional male jobs or female jobs?
I was given both traditionally male and traditionally female jobs. I remember having to do the dishes a lot, vacuum, dust, but I also spent a lot of time stacking firewood outside with my dad.
Did you grow up thinking you should marry for security, or were you encouraged to follow your own path?
I was definitely encouraged to follow my own path, and I would say that if anything, I was more encouraged not to marry, to make my own money so that I wouldn't have to depend on anybody else.
What is your current occupation? Who is the breadwinner in your home?
I have been a real estate broker for 15 years, and I am the primary breadwinner because it's just me and my daughter here.
Do you pass on your beliefs to your own child?
I believe so. I believe I've been pretty boisterous and loud in my opinions on women being able to do anything that a man can do and making sure that she can take care of herself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi there, and thank you for joining us. Please state your name and age.
Hi, I'm India and I'm 16 years old.
Okay, India. Taya Miles, author of Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, From Women Worldwide, Transnational Feminist Perspectives on Women, points out the primarily blonde princesses found in Disney film and what this means for young girls and their perception of beauty and love. In Disney films, the princess is most often a white, blonde-haired beauty with small waist and generous curves. This portrayal leaves young girls with the perception that to be a princess, one must mirror those traits. What type of movies and TV did you consume growing up?
I watched all the Disney movies, and
And in those movies, did you feel that certain stereotypes were prevalent in the princesses that you watched?
yeah, I noticed that there was way more white characters than black characters. The only character, like Princess and the Frog, was the only movie that I can remember that had a black character in it.
So you don't feel that there was a diverse amount of characters in the
No.
movies that you watched? Okay. Growing up, did you view women and men as capable of the same things, such as work, responsibilities, etc.?
Yeah.
What was your mother's career?
My mother, she worked at Windermere Real Estate, and she, yeah.
And did she balance this with taking care of children?
Yes.
How about your father's career? Did he work in sales also?
Yes.
Did he take on some of the responsibilities of home?
Well, I went over to his house every other weekend, so I pretty much just lived with my mom.
Okay. And were you expected to act a certain way, like a lady? Were you told to be sweet and quiet and not rock the boat?
Just by my dad.
Just by your dad?
Yeah.
Did you grow up feeling that you could accomplish anything that a man could?
Yes.
And did these beliefs come from your home life or from the movies that you watched?
By my mom.
Okay, well, thank you, India, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
As we have seen, there has been great movement in the right direction from the time of Harriet to the time of India. These changes bring hope to women and minorities. However, while these changes are happening, people as a whole need to reinforce the ideas of gender and minority equality. If we hope to sustain these positive changes, it will need to be an active goal for the future as well. Women through the ages are making progress, and it is up to us to see that this positive change continues for our future generations. Thank you.